All right, it is the Oil Stream post-game show here on Edmonton Sports Talk, live on location at the Westgate Boston Pizza. Tom Gazzola in the BP's lounge, and we got Matt Kassian made it back home all the way from, where were you, Cass? In Calgary? You're in Calgary? Yes, sir. All right, you're good. You're back in your home studios, and we got YouTube Trev back at the EST HQ on the city's west end as the Oilers fall 4-0 to the Los Angeles Kings. As always, you can get in on the conversation, 780-218-9999. And if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and you can get at us in the nasty chat. Tough night for the Orange and Blue, and we're going to break it all down tonight as the Oilers wrap up this road trip with a 1-2 record. All right, we're going to start with the scoring summary as well as the game stats. Then we'll get to some text. We'll have Cass hop on here. If Trev, you want to hop in and get Cass going on the post-game show, because I see he's ready to rock, and I'll go through what happened tonight down at Crypto.com Arena, and then we'll get Cass's thoughts on this one. Of course, we'll get to some audio and some video from the Oilers locker room, and they will look to bounce back Tuesday night against the Detroit Red Wings. No scoring in the first, sloppy for the Oilers in the first, kind of similar to what we saw the other night in Anaheim, but in the second period, on the power play, the Kings would strike his 11th of the season. Pierre-Luc Dubois from Spence and Moore to make it 1-0 to 38 in, beating Stuart Skinner. Then we had Trevor Lewis add to the lead, making it 2-0 at 3:27. A couple of quick strikes, Lewis's 7th from Quinton Byfield, 2-0 Kings after one. And in the third period, Quinton Byfield picks up his second of the night, 15th of the season. His first of the night, 15th of the season. He gets his second one and 16th of the year into the empty net. The second Byfield goal coming at 17:18. The first at 7:06. The Oilers had the goalie pulled for 5 minutes in the final frame and could not beat David Riddick at all. Shots on goal, 27-26 in favor of Edmonton. Face-off percentage, Edmonton wins that battle, 51.7% to 48.3%. The Oilers power play 0 for 4 tonight, and the PK just 1 for 2. Hits 26-20 in favor of the LA Kings. Block shots 25 for LA to Edmonton's 5. 8 giveaways for the Kings to Edmonton's 3, and then 7 takeaways for the Kings to Edmonton's 5. Get your thoughts in, 780-218-9999, and in the nasty chat, which I saw was humming along quite nicely already. All right, Matt Kassian is ready to rock and roll. Cass, as you unmute yourself for this one to break it all down in that lovely shirt that you're wearing, what do you make of the way the Oilers handled the Kings tonight, who did look like had that new coach bump from Jim Hiller?
To shoot, and they didn't. Lo and behold, you get scored on a couple times. LA basically, plays shitty hockey where you just have 5 people right in front of your net the whole time to make it really hard for pucks to go through. And they managed to hold on and, eventually, score a few more. Tommy, low energy game, which is probably how everyone else is feeling right now after watching it. Is like, that just sucked the life out of me. And that's kind of how the game went for the Edmonton Oilers.
I'm not going to make excuses for them. I did think that first period was eerily reminiscent of what we saw at the Honda Center in Anaheim the night before. But, I mean, this Kings team is a better team than the Ducks. Let's start there. This Kings team is coming off a win on January 31st. So, you think maybe they're rusty. Maybe they're just well-rested. Which team shows up? They also got the added motivation of having a new coach because they got their old coach fired. How much does that factor into the way the Kings played? Because the thing that was popping up here while we were watching the game at BP Westgate was it looks like the Kings were working their butt off for everything that they got tonight.
Yep. Oh, yeah, no, they most definitely were. And I think if you look back at and you read about how the last couple practices, and I can't remember, was it I can't remember who wrote that or where that quote was, but
Zach Dooley?
It might have been Dooley. I can't recall who's writing about that. But the practices apparently for the LA Kings the last 2 days a lot longer than normal, a lot harder in a lot of ways than normal, and more intense than normal. And this is the mindset that they're trying to get back to, and that's kind of what we saw earlier in the season from the LA Kings, like just very, very intentional, very intense. And somewhere along the way, they completely lost it. They had a little bit of that back today. So call it a coach's bump. Does that factor in? Absolutely. The motivation of trying to recatch the Edmonton Oilers, that factors into it as well. And, LA played a good game tonight. They played a really good game tonight. They executed their game plan exactly how they wanted to. They kept Edmonton to the outside. They kept their players to the middle of the ice, and they took advantage of a few opportunities that Edmonton gave them. And it wasn't like the LA Kings had 30 grade A chances, but they're a team that's says we're going to sit, we're going to wait, we're going to be patient, we're going to play good defense, we're going to play hard and fast and aggressive, and we're going to penalty kill hard and fast and aggressive, and that's exactly what they did, and gave the Edmonton Oilers fits today. The power play wasn't very good. I'll throw that in there as well, and just struggled to execute, and and it's interesting. I wonder if, knowing that the ice was bad from the basketball game this afternoon, I wonder if that got in their heads a little bit, especially on the power play for those skill guys.
Now, I think there's a lot of us out there that would say, come on, Cass, both teams have to play on that ice. You played in the National Hockey League. The majority of us have not. How much does that actually get discussed, and how much of it becomes a complaint when things aren't going your way? Because this is something that you've been through, not 99% of us.
It certainly has an effect. It absolutely has an effect, especially for the power play that's all about puck movement. So it does have an effect. Now, both teams have to play through it. That's why we didn't talk about it on Game Changers before the game. But I will say, is it having really bad ice favors the LA Kings more than it favors the Edmonton Oilers, just from a stylistic standpoint. Edmonton, at times tries to be too cute when they're not playing well. They definitely were trying to be too cute today. Having really bad snowy ice where the puck's bouncing and rolling and not doing what you want it to do, that can make it more difficult. And again, for skill players, sometimes that can get in your head a little bit. Now, is that an excuse to say that you should lose a game or a reason for losing the game? No, it's not. You can't blame the bad ice for the game. You have to blame your lethargic play for the Edmonton Oilers, because it was lethargic. They didn't have a lot of jump tonight. They didn't have a lot of legs tonight. Now, again, is it something that factored into not help them get to where they needed to go mentally? I think it probably was. It probably was.
Matt Kassian, Tom Gazzola, live as we break down the Oilers 4-0 loss to the LA Kings. All of a sudden, Cass, we're talking about a team that's lost 2 of its last 3 after rattling off 16 in a row. Now, that's a negative slant. Not really a good way to go about it, in my opinion, although the way that they have played these last 2 nights isn't that reassuring if you're an Oiler fan. And I know a lot of people outside of this market certainly were saying, well, look at the teams they won in that 16-game winning streak. How many of them were bottom feeders? How many of them were middle of the pack teams? And I think there's a couple of good responses from Oilers fans saying, well, tell me about your team's 16-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Right now.
Tommy, just to jump in on that. Sorry to interrupt, but
all good.
Look at how they played that Vegas game. And yes, they lose the hockey game. They outplayed Vegas very, very strongly. Yes. So really, if we're even looking at it, like, they've lost 2 of the last 3. The loss, the first one, they played very, very well. Now, they didn't play great against Anaheim. They find a way to win. And today, out of the 3 of them, really, today was the worst one. It was the stinker of it. And now maybe are they dealing with a little bit of the fallout from the streak ending? Well, maybe. It's possibly too emotionally. There's a little bit of that there. But, I mean, listen, they're going to have a couple good teams coming up here. Detroit's another good team that they're going to play. St. Louis is a team fighting to hang on to a wild card spot here. They're a pretty solid team. And then you have the Dallas Stars come in. So I think you're going to have another couple tests here to see how they rebound. I still think most of the people outside of Edmonton that were saying, look at the teams they played, that's a bunch of hot garbage, because a lot of good teams play those exact same teams. And as you mentioned, that the astute Edmonton Oilers fans mention all the time, let's see your team's 16-game win streak and
Tell
how
me
they
about
did
it.
playing against those same teams. So I don't buy into that, but I do buy into that there are going to be ebbs and flows, just like any season. And yeah, tonight wasn't a good one. It was not a good hockey game for the Edmonton Oilers.
B. Mutha Reviews says 2 of 3 in division. And yeah, totally get that. Especially this one to the Kings, who are trying to claw their way back into the swing of things in the top 3 in the Pacific Division, where they were for the majority of the first couple months of the season. All right, let's get to some critiques, some questions, some concerns from Oil Country. 780-218-9999. If you have any questions for Cass that you might want to get answered, or you see something that you want to bounce off of him, let us know. And of course, the nasty chat. I'm seeing the nasty chat going. It's raucous, as is the tradition. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. Cast from Andy Pandy says, another brutal offensive showing. Too many passengers again. The Oilers really haven't put in a decent full game performance in 10 games. Draisaitl trying to do way too much. Nuge absent again in big games. Perry looked a second too late on every chance. We are struggling to beat our rivals. That's from Andy Pandy. Andy Pandy not happy. This one from EA says, we can't use the goalied rhetoric this time, Tommy. Edmonton didn't really look threatening 5-on-5 and even less on the power play. In parentheses, we can include the empty net sequence. 1 and 2 since the break is a lot more compelling. The fact that Vegas and LA are teams that are battling in the standings and most likely in the playoffs, and the results have been concerning. Some question marks are coming back, and I'm afraid that the 16-gamer may have clouded who this team really is. Before I go on to Dirty Curdy, do you want to touch on what EA and Andy Pandy had to say there, Cass?
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit about the Vegas game already, and that I thought they played a really good game against the Vegas Golden. If a fan expected this, I would say you shouldn't have been. You didn't expect them to win every single game the rest of the season. You expected there were going to be times when they lost a couple games. There was going to be still ebbs and flows and ups and downs and bumps and bruises. That's part of the process. And Tommy, they didn't lose 2 in a row. They lost to Vegas and then they won. Now they lost again. Now it's on them to not have it turn into losing 3 out of 4 and stepping back against the Detroit Red Wings and actually coming out with another really good effort here. So, yeah, I mean, the truth is somewhere in between. Did it disguise some of the problems with the team, the streak, and push it to the side? Well, maybe a little bit, but I think, and especially inside that locker room, and maybe more so with management, where it put them in a position where it didn't force their hand with things, but I think they were still very realistic in my understanding. And if you listen to trade rumors and you look around and all the trade bait boards and everything going on, Edmonton's still going to be active. And they were when they were still in the middle of that 16-game win streak, where they're Ken Holland and co are actively on the phones. They're actively talking to people and looking to improve this team and get a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave it at that.
No, all good, Cass. All good. 780-218-9999. If you want to text us, if you're listening on your drive home, we appreciate it. And if you're watching on the EST YouTube channel, get in on the nasty chat. All right. Dirty Curdy with his breakdown, as he tends to do, and is robust in what he wants to talk about the teams. So Dirty Curdy, I will get to your text right now. This one says, Kings played it like a must-win 7th game. Oilers played it like an afternoon preseason yawner. Getting blanked by Riddick is so cringe-worthy. Sloppiness from the Ducks first period bled into this one. Ryan, Brown, and Janmark skating around like they're being chased by bees, not doing much else, is a big problem. Oilers 2 perimeter and outside, some shifts from the Katy Perry line. This game was controlled by the Kings. Special teams is back in the tank. Need to get it back on the rails to avoid another Oilers streak the wrong way. I did not like the power play tonight, Cass. The PK, yeah, but I don't know. These are special teams that have crept into the top 10. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, even though they were bad tonight, especially on the power play. But Dirty Curdy with a lot there. Anything stood out to you about that text?
Yeah, well, just thinking about the special teams, like their special teams have been pretty good. Now the power play hasn't been unbelievable recently. Like it hasn't been absolutely lights out, and it struggled tonight. And I think some of it was the looking for that pretty play at times, and not just that getting the puck to the net, because the ice isn't great, and we need some chaos around the net, and we just need to find something. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I do love calling it the KD Perry line. I do like that. That's
So do I.
yeah, I enjoy that. So thanks for that. I hadn't heard that one yet, and I do appreciate it. So that's good. Thank you, Dirty Curdy, for that.
Yeah.
That may be my favorite thing about that text.
It's a great name. Maybe that line sticks, and maybe they get another goal. They did get one last night in Anaheim. All right, let's see. Tube Socks, who was down here at BP Westgate, was said, all this winning has masked the deficiencies. The beauty of tonight's game is that there are more games. This text comes in from Joe Davola. Joe Davola says, Nurse sure does a lot of jawing and not much else. When a guy like Anderson tries to take Hyman's head off and they keep chirping, stop waving your stick around at the puck for once and try to expletive lay someone out. I did see that run that Mikey Anderson took at Zach Hyman. I thought Hyman was chirping Anderson, and rightly so. He stood him up. Cass, anything on Nurse from Joe there? Joe's fired up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to that play because I can't recall exactly what happened. So
Anderson tried cutting across, and he took a run at Hyman. Hyman stood him up and started chirping Anderson. But Joe's talking about more so Nurse just kind of jawing at guys as opposed to mucking it up and fighting them, I suppose. But
yeah,
I think
you don't need Darnell Nurse to fight anybody right now at this point. And really, I mean, what's that going to do? I mean, the jawing that's going to happen, and you see frustration. I mean, you saw McDavid slamming his stick and breaking it. You see the frustration, and when you're not playing well, and against a team like, I mean, let's not. So yeah, chirpy, especially for guys that have been around. So it's not. I mean, to me, that's normal, and maybe we pay more attention to it because the Oilers are losing and not playing well, and we're trying to look for things. But I mean, I think those guys are always chirping, but you didn't need Darnell Nurse to. It wasn't a type of game. Well, maybe it was. You know, having someone take a run at someone, maybe that changes something, but they just didn't have it. And so, were the Mows running a little bit? Yeah, would it have been nice to see them back it up a little bit more than they did?
Sure,
for sure.
Yeah. The Oilers and Kings go at it again on the 26th of this month. So if you want to get some retribution, and you took a number tonight, if Darnell Nurse happened to do that, or if Zach Hyman wants to keep in mind what Mikey Anderson tried to do, you do have a couple of weeks, and then you can try to get your redemption on the LA Kings and individual players. But I think the most important thing, obviously, would be Edmonton trying to get a win against its Pacific Division rival from LA. All right, I'm going to stack these two up, Cass. One from Conroe, Texas, from a former RTA grad reporting all the way from the Lone Star State. Says one of Connor's worst 5 games of his career. And then Mike in Thunder Bay adds, was that McDavid's worst game ever? Way too many defensive breakdowns up and down the lineup. The long break did not do good things for this team, it seems. That's from Mike in Thunder Bay. And for those wondering what McDavid's stat line looks like tonight, I'll read it out to you right now. Donuts across the board offensively, a -2, 2 shots on net, 1 hit, 23:09 time on ice, 40% on the dot. Usually he's good on faceoffs. Usually he's putting up a point or two, and most times he is not a minus player. That giveaway on the second goal, too, Cass, was no bueno.
No, and a couple turnovers tonight, and uncharacteristic mistakes. I mean, you have another one on the 2-on-1 where he bobbles a puck as well. So, is it in his top 5 worst games? I mean, it's pretty hard to say. I can tell you that was one of his worst games of the season. Certainly his worst since he came back. Like we'll call it coming back from injury. You know, he's playing for a little bit while he's still banged up and wasn't quite himself. And this is probably his worst game since that point. Which really, coincidentally is when they started winning hockey games again and went on a little streak and then went on the long streak. So certainly his worst game in a couple of months, I don't know if it's all-time top 5 for him, but yeah, he had some struggles tonight. And again, you see him smashing his stick. His frustration was laid bare. I think he knows that he didn't have it. And you saw him towards the end of the game, still down 3 goals, still trying, still working, still pushing, still trying to create. But as I said, it just wasn't there. And maybe a little bit for that line too. And I know I can't remember. I think it was Dirty Curdy that had a little bit about that in his text. It may have been one of the other texters, but talking about that line in particular. McDavid's line with Hyman and Nuge, and they've been a line that hasn't really had a ton going 5-on-5, and struggled again tonight.
Let's go into the nasty chat now on our YouTube channel. Base Deck Home says, when was the last time the Oilers had a brawl or a fight? Florida Panthers take care of business every time. Look what Lomberg did to Kolasar. And then GSIM or GSM says, LA don't care about or fear Nurse. It's like Kachuk getting tough at the end of games. Meaningless. Cass, you like Duclair. Somebody threw out the Duclair idea out of San Jose. Why do you like Anthony Duclair as an option for the Edmonton Oilers?
Well, I mean, from a top 6 standpoint, I think he slides in pretty well. A guy that can score goals, has a lot of speed, and you might be able to make the money work. I mean, it would be expensive, but you might be able to make the money work. That's where I look at that and go, okay, he would be a prime candidate if you were looking to upgrade your top 6. Now, what the cost would be, I don't know. That would be pricey, but no, Duclair to me would be, if you're trying to say, okay, we do want to continue to make our top 6 better, he would be a guy that could slide right in there.
Landon, very negative, says they don't have a goalie and now the streak is over. Good luck getting to 91 points. It's such a bad team. Oof, Landon, I don't know.
It's a little heavy. They just won 16 in a row. I mean,
yeah, 24 of 28. Well, 24 of 29 now, but you're right. Not a good team, no goalie, and burn it down. Burn it down. Yeah. Okay, a couple more, Cass, because I know you want to. You've had a long day, so you want to keep it neat, tidy, and concise, which you have been doing, which is great. We're live on location at BP Westgate, just outside of the West Edmonton Mall on 90th Ave and 170th Street. This text from Eden says, good evening, boys. A few weeks ago, you put up a Twitter poll asking if the Oilers should stay pat at the trade deadline, and a healthy majority said yes. A couple more efforts like that, and I think that opinion is going to shift decisively. Eden, I would say that opinion, regardless of the winning streak, has already shifted, and people want to see trades.
I'm looking back. I'm thinking back to that poll, though. I think it was the majority said no still, and that there was a smaller. I'd have to look back at that. I think that the numbers are backwards there. I'm pretty sure less people from a fan standpoint in the pool said that they should stay pat. I think it was like 75%, 25%, but I could be mistaken. Regardless, certainly some people that felt that way, if it was the minority or if it was the majority that felt they should stand pat. Yeah, it's probably changed a little bit. And Tommy, I know for you and me both, I haven't been of the opinion that they should. I still think the most important thing for them to look to is defensive depth, because they haven't had to deal with any injuries on that back end. And, even if everyone is healthy going to the playoffs, I think that's an area you want someone, you can get into the lineup if you need, that's going to give you good solid minutes. And yeah, I mean, again, to the Duclair thing, could you upgrade your top 6? Yeah. I don't think there's very many people that are actually saying that the Edmonton Oilers should stand pat. And as we mentioned earlier, I don't think there's a lot of people in the organization that are like, we're good. We don't need to do anything. They're actively looking, and I think they will. Now, they needs to be the right deal. You need to find a way to make money work. You can't make a trade that doesn't make you better. So yeah, they're not just rushing out at everything, but I would be surprised if they stand pat at the trade deadline.
Cass, I think the rumor mill and the idea of the Oilers going out and getting a top 6 player and maybe something else has gotten people in a frenzy, and rightly so. And sounds like that chatter is legit, but we'll see what they can add. But if it's realistic, if it makes sense, it doesn't cost them too much, then sure, by all means, go improve, get this team bolstered up. Is it a perfect team? No. Is it a much improved team than what we saw in the first 5-6 weeks? Yes, 100%. But I mean, tinker, add, absolutely, blow it up and make. All right, 780-218-9. get YouTube Trev in here really quickly. Trev, what do you got? What did you think from tonight before we let Cass go?
Well, apparently he didn't think it was very good.
No, okay. Well, we'll let that be. All right. Trev's mad. He's punching a pillow somewhere.
He's angry. He is so angry he can't even talk, which falls right in line with how some Oilers fans are feeling tonight. So
I mean, judging by some of the texts that are coming in, yeah, 100% there. This one comes in and says, may I clear my throat for this one? The Oilers are a pretender. They're always going to get outplayed by their opponent. Could have put Kings further in rearview mirror. Kings get spark from this and will take back third in the division. Oilers back into wildcard fight where they belong. Always outworked and tried to skate by on their talent. This team smells of privilege. Early in the year, I would say 100%, but they seem to have worked their way through those issues.
I think so. I mean, it's again, they played well against Vegas, not great against Anaheim, not good at all against the LA Kings. So it's like you had 2 games. So 2 games, Anaheim, LA, you win one, you lose one, and you didn't play very well. Now, does it give the LA Kings a spark, and did you just make things way harder for yourself? Yeah. You absolutely did. 100% you did, and you did it by playing a not very good game tonight. Do they belong in the wild card spot? It's a tight division, Tommy.
It's tight now. Updated standings. Let's get to the updated standings after the 13 games across the league tonight. The Oilers at 61 points through 48 games, still sit in third in the Pacific Division, 7 points back of the Vegas Golden Knights, and now 13 points back of the Vancouver Canucks. The Kings, with that win in regulation over the Oilers through 49 games, so they've played one more than Edmonton, 24, 15, and 10. That's good for 58 points, 3 back of the Oilers. And then you've got the St. Louis Blues, who are 6-3-1 in their last 10 and have now crept into the second wild card spot at 56 points through 50 games. Nashville right there with St. Louis at 56 points, but on the outside looking in. And then all of a sudden you got the Calgary Flames, who rattled off 4 straight wins at 55 points, so a point back of the Blues. So the Oilers aren't in the clear by any means. An opportunity against the good Detroit team that has 60 points and is 7-2-1 in its last 10 on Tuesday at home. They're going to have to clean some stuff up, but I don't know. I think the Oilers have earned their position in the standings, and these last 2 games, not particularly great. Tonight, I didn't like it. I did not like tonight's game for the Oilers. Yes, Riddick made a few good saves. No, power play did not look good. And yes, the Oilers did make some poor choices with the puck, including the best player in the world, who doesn't do it very often, but certainly did it tonight against LA. All right, Cass, this happened earlier in the night. I want to get your opinion if you saw it. I know you're making your way back from Calgary, but did you catch the Morgan Rielly cross-check on Rielly Craig after the slap shot empty netter on the breakaway? Ottawa, Toronto, you were a part of the Senators. You know all about that rivalry. Go.
I mean, the whole reason I got traded there was because of that rivalry, or a big part of it. There's a lot of Toronto, as we see here in Edmonton, Toronto fans travel. They're everywhere. If you're sitting next to a couple people on transit, chances are one of them is a Toronto fan, and you might need to fight them. They're everywhere, and they take over that building in Ottawa. So my wife's first hockey experience in Canada after I got traded was she came to a Toronto game, Toronto playing in Ottawa, and she was just like, this is insanity. She didn't understand what was happening. There is a real rivalry. The teams don't like each other. You don't like that the fans are in your building. You just don't like them in general, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And so I kind of go like, I mean, it was a statement to take that slap shot. Is it outside of the typical etiquette? Yep. Is it something that you're doing to try to send a message and to make people angry? Absolutely. Should Morgan Rielly cross-check him in the face? Well, no. Now, was he trying to hit him in the shoulders as opposed to the face? Probably.
No.
You think he intentionally was right in the face? I thought he was trying to catch him up high, and it got away from him a little bit. You can't do that. I mean, I'm more of the opinion of just jump the guy. Like, if you're going to do that, just throw the gloves off and grab him and punch him in the face, because you're less likely to get suspended, or you're getting 1 game at that point. Like, you get the instigator, you're getting 1 game. That would probably have been the better way to go about it. listen, you shouldn't cross-check guys in the face. I mean, that kind of the bottom line on that. At the same time, you got to know someone's going to come after you. You do that. Like, you can't, you're just going to take a slap shot from a foot out and think that that's not going to frustrate anybody. Like there's and for all the people, and there's a lot of them out there, just to touch on, I'll probably unpack this because I'm sure we will in two guys.
Unpack it.
But for like, I know there's people, because I saw the tweets, I saw everything going to people like, oh, like basically going like, sucks to your code and the code in hockey and the code is stupid. And I'm like, well, you know, we have a moral code generally as a society, and we don't always do a perfect job of following it. But typically, it's like, okay, there's certain things that you should do, and most people know that you should do, and there's certain things that you don't do that most people know you don't do, and not all those things are legal or illegal, right? Like, it's not, it's but there's things that it's like, well, yeah, if you do it, people are going to be upset with you because it makes you look like a tool, and you're being an idiot, and people are going to get mad, and you might have people push back at you. Now, does that mean you should get hit in the face for it? No, it doesn't. At the same time, you have to expect that, yeah, there's kind of a standard of what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do that people expect. And yeah, if you go against that in the game of hockey, just like in life in general, people are going to push back, and that's exactly what happened. So again, am I a fan of the cross check to the face? No, I'm not. He shouldn't have cross checked him in the face. Should he have gone after him? Yeah, yes, for sure. Yeah. 100%. It was big disrespect, and not that, you know, someone disrespects you have to go and immediately get revenge. That's not what I'm saying. But listen, you do that, you got to expect someone's going to come after you.
Oh, look at you, the former Sen coming out of Matt Kassian tonight.
I mean,
I'm teasing
listen,
you.
Tommy, if it was me, I would have done the slap shot. Like,
I know.
But on the flip side, if someone then skated at me like they were going to hit me, I probably would have cross-checked them first. Like I would have been spinning around in the corner waiting, just being like, who's on their way in. Like, that's, yeah, but that's me.
You would have beaten Morgan Rielly up.
Probably. Yeah.
You would have slapped it in, taken the goal, celebrated hard, and then beaten Morgan Rielly up. Yep. But you are 6'4", 6'5", and a guy that has no qualms dropping the mitts and never did at the National Hockey League level. All right. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I'm glad you unpacked it. Have fun doing that on Two Guys and a Goalie on Tuesday. Yeah, also, one last thing before we leave you, because we do have to talk about this next game against the Detroit Red Wings. Red Wings team that has one less point than the Edmonton Oilers. A Red Wings team that is resurgent. A Red Wings team that just got Patrick Kane back into the lineup. What do the Oilers have to do to get back into the win column? Stop the bleeding really quickly once again, like they did last night.
Yeah, play with some energy, not suck.
Yeah.
Keep the cuteness out of the game. Reestablish the power play. Tell Bouchard that it's okay to shoot the puck on the power play. I hope they do that. But really, it's bring that energy back, Tom. They were lethargic today, and that's not the ice's fault. They were just lethargic. They need to bring some jump.
Cass, fantastic work as always. And one of those societal things is don't drive slow in the fast lane, the left-hand side on the highway. Hopefully there was good drivers out there today as you made your way back to Edmonton from Calgary.
We were good. But you know what? It's like you hit a certain point and you're free of the Calgary atmosphere, and then it's good. So it was smooth sailing, Tommy.
Did you take a deep breath when you got back to Edmonton?
Huge deep breath. I was like,
there you go.
Yeah. Fresh northern air.
Yeah, you get that good stuff in you. Cass, great stuff tonight. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll talk to you on Monday or Tuesday.
Thanks, buddy. Sounds good.
That is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us break down the Oilers' 4-0 loss at the hands of the LA Kings. Yes, 2 losses in their last 3 games. We do have some post-game clips coming at you. Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, and Chris Knobloch, as Trev likes to say, Knobloch, on the way shortly. You can text us 780-218-9999 and get at us in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. But let's get to some stats really quickly and some out-of-town scores. It was a busy Saturday for the NHL because tomorrow is going to be quiet. There's this big game in football. I don't know if you've heard of it, Super Bowl, something about that, and Taylor Swift. And all that is going down tomorrow. You can also come down to Boston Pizza Westgate tomorrow. The good staff here, Curtis, Tony, and the fantastic crew would love to have you. Lots of prizes to be given away, coolers, jerseys, hoodies, and more. They're also going to be here from 2 p.m. to close in the lounge You get a $10 Bud and 4-ounce burger, and all $10 goes towards the Ben Stelter Foundation, which I know Oiler fans have no qualms dishing out a few shekels for. And if you get a beer and a burger for that $10, I think a lot of people will hop on board. That is Boston Pizza Westgate, right outside of West Edmonton Mall, 170th Street and 90th Ave. If you're looking for a place to go for the Super Bowl tomorrow. Also, I know it's sold out, but I'll mention we're going to be down on location at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. That, I believe, is crammed, but there might be some space to mingle and walk around. The whole EST crew will be there tomorrow around 3 o'clock. Of course, kickoff around 4:30. If you want to come by, stop by and say hi, take advantage of some drink specials. The 6 o'clocker lager will be on tap. Or no, not on tap. I should say it's going to be available in cans. It's not on tap at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge yet. Maybe we work on that. Maybe we talk to Renee about that. But there's also some great deals food-wise, something I think to the effect of a few things available for about $10. So if you didn't make Super Bowl plans, you've got a couple of great options. BP Westgate in the lounge, $10 Bud plus a 4-ounce burger, with all $10 going towards the Ben Stelter Foundation, which is fantastic. And then if you're on the north side and want to come say hi to our EST crew, we are at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Okay, let's take a quick look at out-of-town scores, and then we're going to get to some audio and video, and then more of your text, and then maybe we're going to hear from you too, Trev. We shall see. We also have to get to the Player of the Game award. In the National Hockey League tonight, the Buffalo Sabres fall 3-1 to the St. Louis Blues. Detroit, another win, and they beat the Canucks 4-3 in Detroit. That one in overtime. Dallas 3-2 winners over the Montreal Canadiens at Bell Center. Calgary 5-2 winners over the Islanders at UBS Arena. In Boston tonight, the Bruins get blanked by the Washington Capitals 3-0. Florida shutting out the Colorado Avalanche in South Florida 4-0. The Carolina Hurricanes with a 1-0 shutout over the New Jersey Devils in overtime. The Jackets fall at home 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then in that crazy Toronto-Ottawa game, the Sens prevail 5-3. And yes, things got a little hairy at the end of the game. Philadelphia 3-2 winners over Seattle at home. Winnipeg 2-1 over Pittsburgh, and that game was in the Peg. And then Nashville 5-4 winners in OT in the Music City over Arizona. And then you had the Oilers falling 4-0 at the hands of their Pacific Division rivals from LA. Let's get to a few texts here before we get into the Oilers locker room down at crypto.com. Arena, AJ in Montreal staying up late. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate that very much. AJ texting in. Ekholm did not look very good. He's earned a crap game after being super awesome since he was repaired. Yeah, he didn't have a particularly good one. He, among some others. Fat Dan keeping it simple tonight, saying one word. Ugh. Not a lot of people going to disagree with you tonight, Fat Dan. McTavish says, disappointed they did not take a pound of flesh. Need Gudis or Adam Larson type D-men. Too much stick checking. And then McTavish asking if Gagne gets in next game. I don't know. I was wondering, McTavish, if Gagne would play tonight in for Connor Brown. Some people appreciate what Connor Brown's been doing on the PK, but offensively, there's no juice there whatsoever. And Sam Gagne, when he's in the lineup, tends to give the Oilers a spark with whatever ice time he is given. We got this text coming in, says, I really appreciate the code, but the code means crap when there is a comparison of a cross-check to the face, which is in the rule book and dangerous. But there's no rule for a slap shot into an open net. Cass is correct, and square up and ragdoll him. Stinky glove, some shivers, punches, or drop the gloves. Rielly move was a chicken crap, weak player, cheap shot. I agree. But Morgan Rielly does not really throw down ever. And I did not appreciate the way he did that. He will be suspended, and you don't cross-check a guy in the chin. As much as you're pissed off at him for taking a slap shot into an empty net on a breakaway, I'm not going to lie to you, I laughed at it. And then the stuff that followed, I was thoroughly enjoying as both teams were getting into a bit of a brouhaha. All right. Here we go. Let's get to some audio from the Oilers locker room and video. We're going to start with Zach Hyman, YouTube, Trev. If you can cue that up, let's go into the Oilers winger on their loss tonight in LA.
Just couldn't make it happen. Find the break or the goal.
I think they just played better than us, to be honest. Yeah, we got to make something happen out there. Obviously, it wasn't all space. They won the special teams battle, and they won the game.
Yeah, they make you really work in the offensive zone. Like everything's along the boards, and it's hard work. You got to play the right way to beat this team, I guess. Bring the right effort.
I mean, I don't think it was a lack of effort or anything like that. I think we obviously won in this building before. You know, we've won against this team before. We know what it takes. They're a good team. I mean, that's really they're a good team over there too, and they played better than us today.
It seemed like everything that could have gone wrong basically did for you guys tonight.
I mean, we could have probably had a couple. I think we had a looks. It wasn't like it was like they dominated or anything like that. We had our looks. We couldn't score, obviously, and they were able to capitalize. So
Coming off the break, obviously, you guys have lost 2 of 3. It was tough, I guess, to come back from a break like that where you guys are actually winning a lot of games and obviously on that streak.
No excuses. Everybody takes a break, right? Everybody goes on the break. These guys just got off their break, so I think it was their first game back. They have a new coach, so a lot of new things for them. But yeah, no excuses. Just have to, get back to playing. I think we are playing the right way. I think that tonight, they were a bit better.
What is it with the new coach bump? Like, they got it tonight. They really played solid hockey.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it. What is it?
Well, I think it's a fresh start for everybody. Everybody wants to make an impression on the new coach, and even though it's an assistant coach who they're all familiar with, who's taken on the head coach, you still have a new opportunity, right? Everybody starts with a blank slate, a new opportunity. We've had it since I've been here twice, and that's kind of what happens. Is everybody tries to play their very best. It's not like because it's a new opportunity. So.
Notice any changes in what they were doing offensively just with the new coach, or just basically the same team?
I think they just worked. Seemed like they were all over the ice, and I don't think they did anything differently.
All right, Zach Hyman, pretty blunt and to the point there. They did get outworked, the Oilers did, by an LA Kings team. That blank slate, that fresh start with the new coach, maybe it helps guys ease things up mentally and leads them to going out there and busting their butt like they did. The Oilers obviously did not have the requisite gusto to push back, and the end result is a 4-0 loss. Another text coming in from Shanzi. Shanzi says, I want to know what the over-under is in days for Kenny to pull the trigger. What say you, cool bet? We'll have to get the morning show guys on that on Monday. And then Shanzi adds 28 and 13 need to sit, bring back 57 and 89. Shanzi, I think we will likely see 89. I don't know if 57 is getting a call-up just yet. And, Matthias Janmark, offensively, there's nothing there. Hasn't been for a while. His PK work has been good, relatively consistent day to day, but he has not been. He's been a cooler offensively for sure. 6 points on the year. All right, YouTube Trev. We're going to get to our next bit of audio and video. It is going to be Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
For your group, did it feel like you guys were chasing the game all throughout the 60 minutes tonight at all?
I actually thought in the first period we did a pretty good job of managing the game. We knew they were going to come out pretty fast. A couple changes for them, and obviously just coming back from the break. So 0-0 going into the second, and then kind of just special teams. They get the one, and we can't find one. So I thought we did a pretty good job early, and then tough to chase it against that team.
Yeah, those 2 goals in quick succession there. It was pretty hard to come back from, I guess.
Yeah, I thought we stuck with it, and we had lots of chances. I thought Leo's line had some great looks in the second. I mean, I know Clouder's line, same thing, and we just couldn't find it. But definitely, they're not going to give you anything easy, and you're going to have to work for every opportunity they get.
It's not like you didn't have chances, like you said, but it's just one of those games where everything that could have gone wrong kind of did. Nothing really went right.
Yeah, I mean, I think still we could have played a better game overall, but obviously I think if we capitalize on the power play, the game probably takes a different shape.
Riddick was good too.
Yeah, made some saves when he needed them to, or when they needed him to. I thought Stu played very solid for us and gave us a chance, and yeah, I mean we just couldn't find that one to kind of get us going.
I feel like you just kind of that break hit at the worst time for you guys. Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's obviously when you're rolling like that, it's not ideal, but it's the way it is. I mean, you can't control it. There's no excuse. I mean, it's just. I actually thought against Vegas we played solid, and last night we battled, and we're going to have to find it again here. So definitely no excuses, and I want to get the second half rolling.
How tough is it coming into a building with a new coach and kind of that new coach bump?
Yeah, well, I definitely think it's a real thing. I think it's a bit of a message to the team, and the players want to step up and play as well as they can for the new guys stepping in. So I've experienced it before. So I know that you definitely feel that, and you want to play well for the new guy.
All right, that was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as his team falls 4-0 to the LA Kings. Nugent-Hopkins, no points tonight, -2. A couple penalty minutes, one shot, 20-45 time on ice. Did not take a face-off playing on the wing. Let's get to the nasty chat really quickly. I've got to laugh at this one, and it was from Nick Raz, who says, clapper into the empty net, sheer entertainment, yes, and it caused a brouhaha, which I enjoyed. This one from Jack says, LA underperformed before the break. They are a good team. Any smart teams would be calling Kevin Adams in Buffalo and try to steal some young talent. Middlestat, hint, hint, says Jack. And then Greg, who's a Kings fan, says, nothing, and I mean nothing, makes me happier than beating the Oilers. Go Kings, from Craig. All right, one more time to the Crypto.com arena we go, and this time it's going to be Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch.
What was the difference tonight?
Well, I think in the second period I thought we played really well and had our opportunities. I think in the second period just not able to capitalize, and the amount of chances that we had, and we got outscored 2-0. I think that was hard for us. And then just, during our winning streak, we, a special teams battle, we always came up on top or at least tied. I think there was a stretch since, mid-December that we went through that whole time without losing that special teams battle. And now tonight we lost it, and, that just makes it harder to win games when that happens.
It seemed like you couldn't find something. You couldn't find, I don't know if it was the right goal at the right time, anything, the right save. Does it feel like that, where just kind of everything went wrong that they could have potentially?
Well, in the second period, there was a couple shifts that I thought we generated a lot of momentum. It started with Fogel's line, and then there was Leon's line, and the one that just trickled over the net that was after the whistle. We were building a game there, and we drew some power plays, had some good looks there, just didn't go in. So, I thought we played better as the game went on, but ultimately just didn't go our way.
The McLeod line, how, as a coach that puts a new line together, how long a runway do you give it to, you can't just judge it after 1 or 2 games. Do you give it a week? Do you give it 2 weeks, a month? What do you usually do?
There's so many variables on determining that. One is, how are they playing? Are they getting their chances? Are they getting giving up goals? And then the other one, probably a lot of times out of their control, is what's going on with the other lines. If everyone else is playing really well, they probably have to figure things out. And if the other 3 lines look terrible, then they get mixed up. So there's a lot of factors.
Your thoughts on that line through 2 games?
I think they've generated a lot of opportunities. I think McLeod's been playing really well. When Perry was there, they were creating some chances. Right now, Fogel's there. I thought that was his best game that I've seen from him for a while. So Yeah, we'll give it a little bit more time.
Obviously, you had this big streak before the break, lost 2 of 3. How would you overall these 3 games kind of assess your team's play?
Well, I think the first game against Vegas was probably our best game. And, we won the second game, and then tonight it was probably a game that we were finding ways to win during that streak, and tonight it just wasn't enough. And a lot of credit to LA, how they played, and definitely their goaltender played really well. We got shut out, but, the amount of chances we had, I thought we should have been able to put a few in.
Yeah, you don't control the schedule, obviously, but do you feel like the break kind of came at a lousy time for your team?
Who knows? You can't say that. We might be 0-3 if we didn't take the break, so it's we can't judge that.
All right, that was Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch following his team's 4-0 loss at the hands of the Los Angeles Kings. I'm just looking here. When was the last time the Oilers were shut out? It's been a long time, not since Jonathan Quick did it back on October 26th. That was Hall of Fame night when Doug Waite and Charlie Huddy went into the Oilers Hall of Fame. That was the last time this team was blanked in a game. So they're going to look to regroup Tuesday night against the Detroit Red Wings, who come to town, and then the Oilers hit the road again off to St. Louis on Thursday. Dallas next Saturday, 1 o'clock start our time, and then they get another afternoon game on the following Monday in Arizona. Then they return home to wrap up the month of February with 5 in a row before the month is up. Boston, Minnie, Calgary, LA, and St. Louis all come to town. And then in March, they go to Seattle, come back home for 1 against Pittsburgh, then hit the road for 4. So we'll see if they can bounce back against the Detroit Red Wings on Tuesday night. We're going to get to a few more texts, but first we're going to get to the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game, brought to you by Damon Bunting, who's a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton. And among Remax realtors, he and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cannot go the Oilers' way, certainly, for the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. And I'm going to have to hand it off to the man with 2 goals and assists, plus 3, couple shots, 16:29 time on ice. He is number 55 in silver and black. Quentin Byfield, fingerprints all over this game offensively for the Kings as they win it 4-0 over the Oilers. Short, sweet, and to the point tonight with the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Let's wind things down with a few texts. This one from Fort Sask Ryan, who says, the thing I liked about Rielly was that he showed some balls and emotion, what the Oilers didn't have tonight. Ryan from Fort Sask. Fair. Not going to argue that. I actually agree wholeheartedly with Ryan from Fort Sask. This one says the turnovers from 97 and 29 are getting out of hand. That comes in from Tim. Yeah, Tim, they're going to need to clean it up. If those guys are going to lead by example, they can't be coughing up pucks, and those pucks leading to goals like we saw on the second one with McDavid at the turnover at the blue line. Not McDavid-like, certainly, and he isn't known to do that, but when it happens, it can still bite him in the ass, and it did, certainly, tonight. So I'm sure he will want to clean that up come Tuesday. This one from West End Rob says, Tommy Fogle not doing much for a few games, but West End Rob, you just heard the coach pumping his tires a little bit there. Could the coming trade deadline start to play with the guy's mind, as him and or CC seem to be the obvious cap casualty if someone substantial comes in? From West End Rob. Yeah, potentially. Potentially he's a UFA at the end of the year, making $2.75 million. Might have to take a haircut in his next contract. So he's a thoughtful guy. Maybe it is bothering him. Maybe he's starting to hear rumors swirling about him being the guy that has to go somewhere to free up cap space if the Oilers are to make a move. Keep in mind, Corey Perry is now here, and Evander Kane seems to be healthier. All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream post-game show live from Boston Pizza Westgate. Huge thank you to Curtis, Tony, and the entire fantastic staff here for a wonderful night. To everyone who came down, enjoyed the food and drink specials, thank you. And for putting up with me during the prize giveaways. We did give away a Heritage Classic McDavid jersey, so it is pretty sweet to come down to these watch parties. A big thank you to the fans who did that. And then a big thank you as well to Molson for providing the wonderful gifts and prizes. There were some GCs. There was a lot of T-shirts, hats, toques, some golf gear as well. So a huge thank you to everyone involved tonight. That's going to do it for the Oil Stream post-game show. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, texting in. Whether you listened or watched, we appreciate you. For YouTube, Trev and Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola, having enjoyed my night, saying enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have fun watching the Super Bowl, and be safe out there. Ciao.